the big guns. You got to unmute yourself, buddy.
Pete, marketing consultant.
Here, you guys move in a little bit. Let's move some of these chairs out. Move some of these chairs out, move in, and we'll.
Magazine.
Church planter. Yeah, church planter. We'll move in a little bit closer so we can all chat. Yeah, you know what? So tonight, hold on, let me get a piece of paper here.
I'm Brian.
Hey, Brian, Mike Hurst. Good to meet you. How you doing?
Are we taping right now?
Yep.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, it's probably
Somebody else is coming on now, too.
Somebody just else came on? Dale.
Yeah,
You're in
hi,
Australia.
Yeah, hi Jeff, how are you?
Good, how about yourself, man? Oh, you know what? I need to do one more thing here. Probably make it a lot easier here.
Okay.
So what happened with your TV show?
I was waiting for that.
Getting put together
Hold on
slowly
here.
but surely, but it's probably going to take, they're probably going to do something with it in September.
Okay.
The last thing. So they're going to shoot
Let me
something
just plug this in.
either July or August. They're going to shoot that pilot part. The actual full
Hey,
thing.
Well, that's pretty
Nice
good.
sun outside.
Yeah.
I can go to the beach.
No, the guy's he's just a degenerate.
Oh my, where did you find him?
All
Met
right.
him in my girlfriend in a restaurant.
Go ahead, Dale. Tell us something. Say something.
Yeah, hi, hello. One,
Okay,
two, one,
great.
two. Good.
Let me just turn my
Freaking
speaker.
burger.
But he's like a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go on mute.
Okay, perfect. We're good. We're good. All right.
Called,
Silver foxes.
Silver Fox. It's about old guys who go out and scan engines all day.
That's all he
Oh,
does.
God.
I mean, it's insane.
All right. So we are here. Welcome to Thursday Night Boardroom. It is Thursday. Sonny, where are you hailing from?
I'm from Utah.
You're in Utah.
Where
Okay.
at?
Where about?
Pleasant Grove. Down in good
My
old
son
Happy
goes to
Valley.
university.
Where's Happy Valley?
That's Provo, Orem, Pleasant Grove. It's about 40 minutes, 45 minutes south of Salt Lake.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And Dale, you're coming in from where in Australia?
I'm in Melbourne, so it's
Melbourne.
actually Friday, 12 noon for us.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
So Friday the 13th is going to be okay?
Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Elisa, remind me where you're coming in from. Alyssa? Can she hear me? She looks like she's frozen. That's a great frozen.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati. I'll be in Cincinnati, Ohio next Thursday, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
Cisco in the morning, and going to Chicago to see Tom Driscoll in the after for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it'll be
Oh, that's cool.
Wrigley Field on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's super
yeah,
cool.
should be
Why does that
fun.
name ring a bell?
He's from around here. He's a friend of mine. I don't know if you've ever met him here. Yeah, so welcome, you guys. Thursday Night Boardroom International. We've got it live and we've got it on air, and this is the way we see it going from now on. I think I'll probably in future get a better camera, a wider angle, and maybe a better quality camera than the little Microsoft job up there. You know, whatever. We'll make do with that. Can you guys hear us okay out there? Dale, can you hear us okay?
Yeah,
I hear
perfect.
you good.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's fantastic. Got people from all over the place here, and obviously from local. You guys get to do. So what I want to do, and just really quickly, some housekeeping things. We will have a Thursday night boardroom at the end of this month, the last Thursday of the month, which I believe is going to be 23rd, 24th, 26th of the month. Hey, Pete.
Pete, look who's here.
So roll your chair up here, my friend.
Hey, Wolfman.
They know each other.
And yeah, evidently.
So, who are you?
But we're going to do that. We will not have a session in July, and then we will have a session the third week of August. And from that point on, we're going to do it once a month live here. I'm still teetering around with the fact that we can do one on air, but there's just so much going on in my little world with the seafood business, with my wife's business, and obviously I want to continue. She's a high school counselor, and so she's doing it privately as well, and killing it.
That's awesome.
And just the seafood thing is getting bigger, just because the wild things part of it is growing. This relationship with JJ Virgin has really exploded for me, and she's connecting me with people, and there's a lot of avenues and opportunity there. And so it just, I understand and respect the fact that we all have our businesses to run, but we're going to have them once a month, and the once a month thing will be the live and on air, this official session every month will be something that we will be having a specific topic that we'll be discussing, and more importantly, it'll be hot seat, but there'll be a theme behind it. And so we'll want to the hot seat will direct the theme if you're instead of trying to direct it the other way. And so we want to continually work towards completing things here. We want to look and see, what is it you're setting out to do, and then what are the things that need to happen in order for you to complete those things? What are the finishes that you have to have in order to make the big finish, if you will? The spin around on the knee, and what are the excuses that you've been using? Because that's all they ever are. It is an excuse. If this thing's if it's big enough to do, then it's big enough to finish. And so excuses be damned. And that was really, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but that was really the first podcast episode that Brett and I did yesterday, was about finishing. And so we're going to talk about that, and I think that we could all hold each other accountable for this. But there's going to be some more interaction on Facebook for that accountability, and I think that we can all help each other. Instead of me trying to create the message, I think you guys have everybody, or most people in this room have helped guide that message and really created a place that people can come and throw something out there and, get pummeled and get congratulated. And, I hopefully a little bit uncomfortable, but recognizing that you've got a place you can go to get almost any answer and any resource now. The boardroom is, as of this sitting right now, we are, I believe, at 376 members in 23 countries, obviously being represented, or we were being represented by Dale. Yeah, there he is. He just fell. There and all over the country. And so, everybody's got things to do, and being here, I want to make sure that the people that show up on the Thursday that we do this once a month, or moving over after this month, that you leave here and you are
That's Pete Mitchell.
Yeah, I know that's Pete. Where we get so. Anyway, you're truly inspired and you're happy that you came here. That you're so happy you came here that you don't want to ever miss.
Oh, I gotta go.
Yeah. So there's reasons why, but so I want to kind of go around the room and around the world, I guess, and have everybody introduce themselves and literally what business are you in, and what's going on in your life right now, specifically, and abbreviated what's going on in your life right now, like the big thing that you're working on, and then we can start that discussion. So why don't we start with you, Sonny? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Sunny, and I was introduced to the Boardroom through Ken Foodie and Joseph Rodriguez. I was working on they brought me on to be an assistant in a marketing campaign that they were doing for a marketing company, and I just enjoyed working with them, and so they really liked my skill set, and especially Joe encouraged me to really develop my skills as a virtual assistant, because I've been doing that just kind of off and on for a few people here and there, and so Joe and I have kind of teamed up and trying to develop my skill set so that I can help others in that area. And I'm still working with Ken as an assistant for him and just trying to build my background. So I'm here to soak up all the knowledge from the Boardroom, you lovely gentlemen sitting there, as well as everyone else online. So thanks for having me.
How did they find you?
Surprisingly, a Craigslist ad.
Great.
Yeah.
I need to hire another virtual assistant, so.
Oh, well, see, yeah, he was like, I need an assistant and I need it ASAP, and I just happened to be online, and I went, all right, let's check this out. I jumped on there and said, hey, here I am, and we fit really well, and he's like, you're hired, let's do this, and I jumped in with both feet, and I didn't have a lot of background. I had some background in they were focusing on sales funnels, and I didn't have a huge background in sales funnels. I had some background in marketing, but not specifically the rifle shot sales funnels. But they threw me into the fire, and I jumped in with both feet, and I guess they enjoyed the fact that I was like, bring it on, give it to me, any information you got. And we've just been rolling ever since. I've been with them 6 months now.
That's fantastic.
That's
now,
awesome.
Let me ask you, what was your specific skill set as you entered? Meaning, like, if you were to say, hey, I'm really, really good at this, what was that?
Customer service, actually. I love talking to people. I can diffuse situations. I can be very diplomatic at dealing with resolving issues and bringing people and building a brand that people can feel loyal about and positive about, and you can create positive feedback from.
That's unusual, because usually, isn't it the rule of thumb when you hire a VA, really don't want them talking to your customer?
I would never have thought of it as a customer. I just typing that for customer service.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm looking for one to do outbound telemarketing.
Oh.
Well, there we go.
10 hours a week.
Well, hit me up. Maybe we can work something out.
Just did.
I just did, that's right.
That's
There we
tremendous.
go.
And I know that both of them talk very highly about you.
Oh.
They really think the world of you, and honestly, I would not have, until you just explained it to me, I would not have imagined that you came in via a Craigslist ad. I mean, were they sending out, did they put the ad in and you answered the ad, or would you?
Yeah. No, he put out the ad, and I happened to see it, and he was just saying, Ken Foodie is very pragmatic and a little melodramatic. What are you putting on there?
This is Steve Dale saying, what is this?
Call me.
That's funny.
Oh, don't you worry. I'll find you.
That's 949-295-3968. Call 295-3968. Call now.
Wonderful. Well, you know how Ken is. He's very pragmatic, and he said, I want someone who, and just in his ad was very, you have to match my level of enthusiasm, which Ken has a lot of enthusiasm, and I said, I can match that. And I guess I just was up to the challenge, and he went, okay.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. And, I mean, you were in the presence of some marketing gods.
Yes. Yes, I was, and I tried to learn everything that I possibly could from them. So I have had, probably a 4-year education in a matter of 4 months. So
That's
I'm
fantastic.
very grateful for that opportunity.
I find it interesting that everybody that was working in that has now gone off and done the same thing for themselves.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
But I think they realized the importance of it, and I think they saw an opportunity there that although this was a great company, there's no way that they'd be able to service everyone who needed it, because really everyone needs one. Everyone needs a sales funnel. Any business in some form needs to be able to bring in an audience, capture that audience, and build that presence saying, you want what I have to offer, and I can
That's awesome.
bring more benefit to you in bigger and bigger ways. So.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Seriously. Like I sat there, God, this is a couple of Thursdays ago, and we were doing a mind meld at Jane Abraham's office about talking about some certain strategies, and I had Aaron Fletcher, who's a member, you've met Aaron here, that wrote the book Standout, and he wrote up on there, and I promised them I would never publish the flip chart, but he wrote like an entire funnel sequence with nurture sequences and all this thing on this flip chart, and I'm like, he's like, you better not use that. I'm just like, oh, no problem. Every time you'd add something, I'm like, oh, it's the funnel is, when you look at it the first time, you almost feel like, you know, when you look at it completed, like an operational automated funnel, it looks like when you used to go into the phone room and all the wires were on the wall, and you're like, you got to call the phone guy, right? And the phone guy walks in and just goes, you know, like, got some, you know, something in his mouth, he's like a little light or whatever, and he's like clamping these things together, and he's got it, and you're going, what the hell's he doing? Like, there's, you know, there was a story, you know, there was a direction, he was able to see it. But the first time you look at a funnel that's done, you know, Lucid Chart or however, you're just like, oh man, I gotta, you know, somebody's got to do this stuff for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you do it, you grow the capacity for it, and you know, the people that she was, you know, in the company of, and continues to be, are really, really brilliant people. You know, people that know Joseph in here too. I mean, you know, Joseph will be here. You know, I've coined the phrase "executive body man." Is his title now? And
4 hour work week, but he is 4 hour work week.
yeah, well, he is a guy that you can count on. You know, like he came in and lived with me for 2 weeks, and so he saw all my bad habits and saw the things going on culturally here at the office. And so now every kind of conversation and project that we do, he realizes what I'm facing on a daily basis. And so it's not like, here's this task, like build website. That's not a task. It's send me the copy for the about section. Give me the pictures for the slide. You know, and that's one thing, one day. And so, you know, with Joseph and Ken Foodie, who's about as creative as the day is long. You know, she's had a tremendous amount of experience in that. So, welcome, Sunny. It's great that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hey, Pete, are you on with us, or do you want us to move on?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
You want to introduce yourself to our global community?
I'm Pete Mitchell, and I'm trying to make sure my 2-year-old doesn't get burned by the fire.
Okay. Well, then we'll let you concentrate on that, and then once you've got him corralled, then we'll come back to you. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Not that we're going to call Child Protective Services on you or anything.
No, we would never do that.
They already know me. It's all right.
They have you on speed dial.
Pete, right? Yeah. Pete.
Deo, why don't you introduce yourself, my friend?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Dio Swinme. I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, and I originally actually listened to a podcast of Jeff on Entrepreneur on Fire, and just reached out to him. And next thing I knew, we were on a Skype call talking about my latest business venture, and he gave me some very good advice. And sort of said, "Would you like to join the boardroom?" I said, "Yeah, sure, definitely." So this is actually my first one that I'm in. Today's a bit of a okay day for me because my daughter is in childcare, so I've got a bit more time without much noise around the house, which is good. And in terms of what I do, the latest venture, like I said, I'm working on is it's actually a venture called Valley Chef. So it's essentially hello to you too. It's essentially a fresh ingredients delivery service. So that's one of the things that actually resonated with me with Jeff being on the seafood industry as well. So what we've been trying to do is basically we've managed to team up with a celebrity chef here in Australia, and we're looking to use their recipes and their name and brand to actually promote the service, where customers can go onto the website and they can order some recipes, and then we'll go off and we chop, slice, and dice, get all the ingredients ready to go, packaged, and then delivered to them to actually cook in their own homes. So that's been taking a bit of my time in the last probably 8 to 9 months, I guess. Other than that, yeah, obviously I have a 2-year-old that I'm looking after, so she keeps me fairly busy as well. And what else can I say? Yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing some of my insights and also learning more from the people who are on the boardroom as well, and hopefully we'll all be able to get something positive out of the relationship.
Great. Tell me how the venture's going so far.
Yeah, so it's going okay. We're planning to have a soft launch early August. So as I said, we've managed to do we had the lawyers involved, which took quite a bit of time from our side and from the celebrity chef side, but essentially we've been able to get an IP license agreement with them, so we can actually use their brand identity basically to support the venture as well, which is great. So we're just getting all their recipes now. I've been dealing with a lot of suppliers, meat suppliers, ingredient suppliers, fruit and veg, nuts, and everything you can imagine. Just trying to walk through all that. And yeah, just walking through. We've got like a landing page on the website now, so we're just collecting some email addresses so we can use that for the soft launch. And we're currently working on the full e-commerce site as well. So we're actually up in Sydney on Wednesday, doing some filming in the chef's house, just as an intro to. This is actually one of the tips I think I got from you, Jeff, about using video and all that. So we've got like a welcome to Valley Chef. Thanks for buying your first product sort of thing. So we're filming that on Wednesday. Yeah. So I listened to what you said. So we're actually filming that on Wednesday as well. So it's going okay. Like I said, it's taking a bit of time, but when you got different people involved in this thing, I guess it does take a bit of time. But yeah, it's going good. So we should launch mid-August or early August, I guess, as a soft launch, and then we'll do a full launch later in the year as well.
Well, good luck to you, man. Good luck to you. Welcome. It's great to have you here, and hopefully you find this to be a valuable use of your time.
Well, it's been so far, so yeah, definitely. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Super. All right, my friend. All right, Alyssa.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Elisa Smith, and so my background is in product development, and I've been developing products for many years, mostly personal care products, from concept to launch of those products for about 16 years. So right now I have an employer, but I'm working to venture out on my own, and I've been working just to map out, just to try to figure out what I want to do and to map out the process for getting everything done. So I have been working to I guess, create the concept, understand what the idea is. I think that I want to teach people how to innovate, and I want to focus on, I guess, helping others to remove the psychological barriers that are there that prevent people from innovating and being able to create new and disruptive ideas. And so right now I'm just trying to understand, how do I create a blog, where do I get content. I'm thinking that I would like to do a podcast and interview people, so working to figure out who could I interview. Would love to interview people who are disruptive thinkers, and that's pretty much it.
We got a few of those.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion?
Okay.
I hear you talking about getting a blog and setting up a podcast and all that. I think it's really, and people can jump in here. I think Pete, you probably have a say in this as well, or an idea of this, and the gentleman in the room as well. Is start with the quantifiable result that you're going to provide for your client, and then work backward from there.
Okay.
So if there's to be able to say, I'm going to change the mindset of this, to do what, and what can they do at the very end? What can they hold and say that quantifiably I improved, or I was able to achieve or obtain this through my engagement with Elisa,
Okay.
and then work backward from there. Do you guys have any comments?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and too many of them are unfocused, and people don't keep subscribing. If you narrow your focus down to
Well, I don't even think it's that. I think aren't you gonna be in the product development? Aren't you gonna stay in that kind of area?
Yes.
Okay, so she's gonna.
So your
be doing
niche is going to be
development.
product development people?
That's just
Yes.
it's
That's
not a podcast. That's just a tool that she was going to use to get exposure. What I'm saying is
Just
start
sell their
with,
services?
hey, I was able to help this person develop this product so they could, and help them market it and bring it, take it to market, and this is what happened.
Yeah, listen, that's
where it
fascinating.
starts,
That's
right?
fascinating too.
Yeah,
Knowing
that's engaging.
to be able to take a product to completion like that, and whether you've done it 1 time, 10 times, or whatever, to be able to show what you've taken to that point is a big deal. I always love to see stuff like that. Even if I'm not interested in the product, I'm always interested in somebody that took something from nothing out of thin air and did that.
Yeah.
It's always fascinating.
So is that who you're going to be interviewing, people who've
No,
done
the
such
podcast
things?
was just a vehicle that she was going to use to get exposure for what she actually offers to somebody. My point is, she was getting with the tools that she was going to use for exposure. The podcast wasn't the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the podcast could become the tool to find new clients.
Absolutely,
to hire
that's what
you
she's saying.
personally.
We're saying start with what are you going to give. What I'm saying is, what is the quantifiable result that you offer to that client before you start a podcast, before you start a
Well, that's
blog?
just a sales pitch.
No, it's what she's going to offer. I do this.
That's a sales pitch.
Well, no, it's actually the result. She starts with the result.
Yeah, but if I was listening for a podcast on how to develop a
You
product,
keep going back to podcasts. A podcast is just like saying, I've got a hammer and I've got a screwdriver and I've got a wrench. They're all different things.
Right.
She's building a house. Those are just the tools.
are you building this house to find customers to hire you?
No, the business is she's helping people create their product and take it to market.
But if someone's watching one of your, whether it's a podcast or whatever it is, and they say, can I hire you as my personal consultant to help me do this?
Yeah.
That's your main goal,
But
right?
how is she going to do? But don't start with the podcast. Start with the thing that they want to hire. Right?
A product development specialist.
She's a product development specialist.
How do they know if she's the right one?
Well, she starts using the tools of marketing, but she's not even at the point where she's got she hasn't sat down and said, what do I offer?
Yeah.
You're using these tools to go out and find people to hire you, correct?
She's considering.
I'm considering it. I'm trying to figure it out.
The box here. Follow me on this.
He's being so disruptive right now.
That's true.
That's awesome.
If you go find a person who took an idea, like Dan said, an idea to completion, and you interview them from your perspective of a product development specialist, and you've entertained who knows how many people who are interested in developing a product. And then your next blog or podcast, whatever it is, I'm just going to say podcast, does the exact same in a different vertical, in a different vertical. What that does, it establishes you as a credible expert because your interaction with that person is, well, how did you go from this, whatever the terms are that you use in your industry? You establish it's your expertise ahead of time, and then people are listening to these going, well, I want to hire this woman because she's really an expert. It's no different than internet marketing cats who spend all this time at Brandon Buckhart. It's perfect. Burchard. He does this. He teaches you how to actually do it yourself, so you hire him, or you go to the Experts Academy. You do get so much information. Well, this is how you go from A to B. This is how you go from C to D.
Right, but isn't there? But before you go to a podcast as that vehicle, wouldn't you want to have some kind of a blueprint or a thing that identifies the process all the way through? So if somebody
You mean you think you would give to someone?
I want some more information on how to do this. That becomes like, this is what I do.
That could
Like
be
what she
your
does
process.
isn't the podcast. What she does is create products. Is help people take their idea and turn it into a product.
So I could hire you if I wanted to develop a new case for makeup.
Or is it,
Yeah.
so what products do you do? Is it
Yeah, there you
women
go.
products? Is it skin cream? Is it lotion?
Well, I create the products for Jergens lotions, so I lead the team. My team creates the products.
Oh wow. Okay.
I lead them through for all of the products that you see on the shelf for Jergens. I basically created that. So work through what's the concept, what's the idea, who are the consumers, developing prototypes, getting those to market, basically, from start to finish.
So nice.
Yeah, your skin looks so soft and supple.
Yeah.
Jergens.
Well, with that in your background, that gives you a huge credibility. You've overcome the most difficult part of entrepreneurialism, credibility, and you've overcome that simply by your past. And that's where I would focus my energy in getting to pimp your product from the pulpit.
Well, see, that's the thing. If a woman walked up and said, I'm just using a woman, if somebody said, I want to develop this type of skin cream or heat rub for a knee or something like that, I wouldn't know the first person to call with that. Well, you'd be able to walk them through packaging, everything that goes inside of it. You've got to deal with this chemical company and this is illegal and this is not.
I think it screams to have kind of that blueprint type element, right?
I think it also screams to do the
If you say podcast,
short videos.
I'm actually going to hit him.
No, on a
No,
video.
right.
Short videos. Take the top 10 questions they should ask and top 10 questions they do ask and do 30-second. You're just sitting there, not looking at the camera, but looking slightly away like an expert, and make 10 or 15 short little videos. You know, in a product, when a product gets to the point where you're about to put it on the shelf, that's the critical point. You got, whatever the question is. I have no idea.
Yeah.
30 seconds. It can be a couple of minutes.
Yeah, they can
that's
under
very
3
cool.
minutes each.
Yeah, that's a
And-
great idea.
And
Those are
you
inexpensive.
optimize each one of those questions online and through YouTube, and you got bang for your buck right there. That gets you in front of the person who's specifically looking for someone to help them develop a new face cream, and they want to become the next Miriam or whatever it is.
Yeah. That's great.
I agree completely on that.
I'm sorry?
I agree completely on that idea of optimizing those videos, because the kind of person who wants to go and develop a product, like you were saying, I don't know the first thing about who I would talk to, but so many people go on YouTube to do the how-to. How do I do this? How do I do that? And if she can take those, those questions that are like the most basic or the ones that they come to the most, and she's the one that comes up every time they pop it up on YouTube, she's going to become that expert, and they're naturally going to draw to her going, well, she knows what she's doing. She just answered every question that's going on in my head. So why wouldn't I go to her?
Under where you're sitting right now, you can even do it with the way you're sitting there, and then pretend you're doing a webcast or a webinar and say, well, this question says, and then post those clips.
Yeah, that's great.
I agree you could do that, but I would also Is there some kind of a lab coat or something like that that you wear when you're at work?
Oh, yeah, I have those.
That would be that.
That would be in that. By the way, just so you know, my new and good friend JJ Virgin is looking for a product development specialist for her skincare line.
Dinky.
Yeah. And I mean, I've never seen a woman build a team of experts around her. Like, it's amazing. She's the greatest team builder I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Oh my God. Everybody that works for her, you're just like, what? But how did you? She's like, I want the best. I'm speaking on stage. I find the best speech coach. I'm doing this. I find the best. Travis, the product launcher. It's not with an ER, but it's with an R. Productlauncher.com. The guy's a freak product launch guy. And video, funnel building, all that kind of stuff. That's her guy. I mean, it's just, it's great. But I will definitely talk to you. As a matter of fact, do you have my email or you're on our Facebook group, right?
Yes, I am.
Send me a direct message and let's connect, okay?
Okay.
Yay.
Ask and ye shall receive.
Now you won't even have to worry about doing something esoterically. You're going to actually do it and just take notes. This is what I did. You might know JJ Virgin. She's two-time New York Times bestseller on PBS and CNN and NBC and all these things. She only has a list of about 1 million people. So she can start. Start small. You don't want to go with anything that's got 2 million people on their list or anything like that. Welcome Vince Backer that just walked in the room too. Well, anyway, that's fantastic, and I'm glad you're here. And you know what? Every time I see you, I'm like, it's your second time on, right?
Yes, it is.
I remember it's just like there's something about her that you know that it's special.
It's the red back.
So that's fantastic. So welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Let's go to the guy over here, Dan Golka.
Okay, there's something to be said about having a quality domain name. Newvideos.com, as of today, 141,000 members.
Wow!
Congratulations.
Yeah. So
I think when you spoke here, it was what?
13,000.
13,000
in January. So
that would be more then, wouldn't it?
Yes, it's gone up since then. So, but that is taken off, and my goal is to have, because this is perfect, by the August date, I'm going to have our app done. That's my goal, so that you're going to be able to have an app. And believe it or not, my kids with Instagram and how much they use that have really shown me a lot. So what we're going to have the app, you can upload videos directly from your phone to the site right now, which is very cool. So I'm doing that. The other thing is that I grew up in the construction business and had an awning company for several years and shut it down. I reopened the company, and I took my really good domain name, which was windowawnings.com, and reopened that up just over a month ago. And overnight, it's getting leads. And the one thing that I wanted to tell you was that I went out and hired a virtual assistant, but I hired a person. I bought them a Magic Jack, programmed them a phone number. They work so many hours a day, and all he does is call my old customers. Hi, your awnings are bad. Would you like to recover it? Now, the beauty of this is that he is set.
You mean that's not beautiful in and of
itself?
itself?
No, it is beautiful. But the beauty of it is in 2 weeks, this guy has a job working out of his house. He works 6 hours a day on the phone. He sets leads. We set him up with a Yahoo calendar. He programs it. It emails me the appointments. And he's set over 24 appointments already from this. And these are people that love us, which is what you need to do, because it's with you calling somebody, I'm telling you, you buy the Magic Jack, it's $49, you program the phone number, and that's it. You plug it into your phone, and this person has that. And
it doesn't matter where you're at.
Right. And also, but they think he lives in hell, which is like the Elsinore. But
he lives in hell?
Yes.
But they share a zip code.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. But we tell everybody he's in Irvine. They think he's at the Irvine office. So it's very cool.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing with Basic Talk. I have a Basic Talk.
And the other thing is, I don't know if I mentioned this the last time, but when I went out to reopen the awning company, I went and researched everybody that was open and closed. There's a lot of companies that went out of business. I found 2 companies that had been in business over 20 years apiece, and called the phone company and bought their phone numbers. Okay, and I've sold over a dozen jobs from people calling the old phone number to say,
Nice.
hey, our awnings are
How
bad.
do you
We want to
spell
redo
awning?
awnings, windowawnings.com. But
Windowawnings.com.
But the cool thing with this is that, and getting hooked up with Steven, is that I get leads from around the country right now. I got one the other day from Texas, we're getting Kansas City, because people program that term in, and we're going to sell dealerships in different areas and teach them the marketing plan, because the awning guys that I've ran into are they're not the most sophisticated group. So we're coming in there with a marketing plan, and we're going to build this up and sell it quickly. But so far, so good. And isn't that cool?
You guys, if you guys make $1 million together and do a $2 million joint venture, you have to promise me you'll give me like $10,000.
Okay, you got it.
All right.
I'm going to buy you a moped.
Oh.
Just help me.
Which is
Just help me. You know what? I'll tell you what. If you guys do $1 million, help me just pay for my 25K membership every year.
I would like to see. So I'd like to know somebody that went to that thing. So that would.
Well, I'm going. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You may panhandle up front.
Yeah, the annual deal. Well,
Yeah.
hell, we live in Orange County. We can just all show up and see what happens.
Let's
Just
try to
stand
get in
outside
there
the door.
and bug the room ahead of time.
I mean, I'm telling you, just to serve. Here you go.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
would become a waiter there.
Yeah, exactly.
it's cool. I mean, the 10-minute talks. I just got the bonus for being there. 20 Joe follows Genius Network. I just got the bonus for being there, and it's a great but you have to show $250,000 of earnings every year to stay in, additional earnings to stay in. But I'm going to it, and I just got the bonus, and it is literally the recording of the video of last year's, the year before, and I Love Marketing deal, and one other thing I can't remember what it is, but it's just watching the 10-minute talks are fan-freaking tastic. Oh my God. And I went and I looked at the Evan Pagan one from 2012 this morning, and think about it, 10-minute talks, you can watch that, you get up in the morning and just watch one, and you're able to do it. It was just extraordinary, but sorry, you got to pay $10,000.
It's funny you mentioned that. One thing I used to fall asleep with TV on. Now I fall asleep with YouTube on, and I love. It's called This Week in Startups, where Jason Calcanis, he started all these different companies, but he does a show each week where he does 2 interviews, one on Tuesday and one on Friday, and it's all about people that have raised money for companies and how they've been bought, how they've been sold, and just the horror stories, the good, the bad. But he gets some great guests on that, and that's worth watching. But like you said, it's one of those things that it's like 45 minutes and it just flies by, and I'll turn it on and I'll shower and listen to it, and it's just fantastic. It really is.
That's great. Yeah, the consumable deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brett and I are kind of going through with our podcast, our new the Deep Dive podcast, and he's like, yeah, we can do an hour, and so I'm thinking, maybe not. I think I'd rather do something more consumable that's like a half hour, and do that. But we got to be a hell of a lot tighter than we are right now, so we'll evolve to that. But yesterday was just like, so you want to record it now? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So it's cool. Well, welcome.
What's your dog doing?
Mike Hurst. I'm a commercial property manager, commercial leasing agent in the Orange County, Riverside, Inland Empire area.
What's going on?
Well, things are getting busy. It's nice.
What does that mean?
That means that there's a lot of leasing going on in the Inland Empire right now. Retail, small retail guys are coming back into the market, which is
and you
good.
see more traffic out there too.
There's more traffic. I mean, the housing market, when it failed, a lot of these small businesses financed their businesses through their home equity loans and those. So when that crashed, especially out there, it just killed the mom and pop small retail business. So with values coming back up, people are starting to have a little cash to be able to do those things. So we're seeing a lot more of that activity, which is where I'm at on that smaller.
Now, let me ask you, when you, as a property manager, are you a fee only, or do you get a percent? Is there some kind of is your fee predicated on the revenues of the property?
Right. I mean, as property management in general is just a function of what the income the property's generating.
Okay.
In general, and if you can increase that, your fee increases. And then if you do leasing, obviously you've got a commission on that leasing or document preparation.
And your customer is an owner that just sees this property as an asset. They're not an active participant in the deal. They hire you to take care of that, right?
Right. Normally for us, they're family trusts or partnerships where they're either retired or they have other focuses in their life other than running the real estate. And so that's what we do. Take that burden off their shoulders.
That's great. Well, that's the Inland Empire is booming. That's good to hear.
It is.
That's good to hear. Okay. Vince, move in a little bit.
Vince with MB Sportscom. We sell.
Thanks for moving in and moving back.
Vince with MB Sportscom. We do communication systems for football from high school all the way up to Division I.
And what's going on with you?
Just got back from a trade show. Good information came back from the FCC on some spectrum that is going to be disappearing. We thought it was going to disappear next February.
That's the 900?
It's the 600.
Okay.
And it is going to disappear, but we've got a 39-month window, which gets us over the hump while we're waiting for a new product to come out. So it's good.
And when the 600's gone, does that make all the equipment obsolete?
Some of it, yes. Not all of it. It's kind of an interesting thing how they're splitting it up, but it's evolved. We'll know more as it happens. But right now, it's kind of everybody's reading like crazy people trying to figure out what's going on.
And it's a 39-month window?
39-month window for us to transition our customers into something else.
But the new spectrum's coming out early next year, right?
There's no new spectrum.
Not new spectrum, but the new
The new technology is hopefully coming out next year.
Okay.
But that's broad spectrum.
So. Interesting. Yeah, I've been thinking about you. I owe you an email.
Well, I owe you a phone call, so.
Okay, well,
Well, you both owe me $100.
Put it on my tab. Right. Pete.
Pete Bernier. I'm not an entrepreneur or a business owner, but I love entrepreneurs and business owners. And, I really do. That's why I do what I do. Basically, what I do, I work for Insperity as a business advisor.
Insperity, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And you think of a company as you grow employees, you grow complexity in your business and compliance issues. And I say every time you hire an employee, it's like herding crickets. And so basically what I do is I manage that risk on the employee side. And President Obama's been one of my best salesmen this year. The reason for that is because of healthcare reform or lack thereof. And we have a happy client.
Yes, we are. My wife's school hired him, and you have never seen happier people. Oh, they're all ecstatic.
How much did I save you?
About $200 a month. It went down $200 a month. I got more benefits out of them. Plus, they have this thing in Marketplace. We get all kinds of bennies.
Okay, are you gonna let's make the video right now.
Well,
Right
now.
I hired him too, but then my CFO put the kibosh on it.
You got my email.
I know. Yeah.
Fired the CFO.
No.
Your brother.
There's a lady right down the street here is getting $10,000 a month on that care reform.
Yeah, we're gonna revisit that for sure.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so I basically all the stuff, compliance, all the things that are related around employees and healthcare reform. We just the way we buy, we're the only ones that buy the way we do, and we save folks
A lot of money.
I think it was 50%. Your wife told me.
It was pretty substantial, and it really all the teachers and the staff are just ecstatic.
I got hugs.
So you know what? That's the thing about teachers with videos and stuff like that. People love to see people that work like that to talk about saving money. I mean, that's a great video.
Well, it's a saving of money, but think of it to a small business. One of the things that they have challenge with is attracting and retaining good employees.
Mhm.
You don't have employees, you don't have a business.
Right.
And what we do is offer what I call corporate level everything around the HR infrastructure services, where if you want discounts on cars, computers, if you have a Verizon cell phone, automatically 18% discount on everybody in the company.
Wow.
We have training courses, 3,400 training courses where people can get CBD credited courses. It's all free. And it's all inclusive. So we take all that, and then if the government comes after you for healthcare reform, we're the ones that's liable. We take it off your plate.
Well, plus you do their payroll too, don't you?
We do all of it.
Do everything for them.
Oh,
Yep.
that's great.
Workers' comp claims, everything.
Yeah, it's called co-employment.
It's co-employment. We join with you and we join with your employees. And what happens is, the way it works in terms of the healthcare reform, the reason why we can do what we do, is your employees come under our FEIN number, and instead of being in a small group where your broker would take you out for a small group plan, and you go through underwriting, and then you have to deal with market prices. With us, we have 250,000 people, how big we are, in our what I call a super exchange, and we manage 12 different carriers. We have 12 different plans in California.
Well, what's the smallest group of people you could have?
8.
Wow.
But if somebody is 5 and they're going to be growing, or even smaller, we get exceptions and we just work with them.
No, that's
To me, I
absolutely
think
amazing.
that the job that he's in and the businesses that he's going into on a daily basis and what he's able to offer.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah, and I truly believe we'll be working with him in the future.
I appreciate that.
So I'm really, yeah.
Well, I love that. When I say I love small businesses, I'm not just saying it. Every client that I work with, if I can help them find a new customer, it's in IT. I bring them customers.
We got to move in a little bit. Talk a little bit more.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, for me, it's a calling. It's not just a, 'cause I really do. You guys, there's 84,000 businesses in California, Orange County.
Really?
60% of them are 1 to 4 employees.
Mm.
Wow.
And that's what generates revenue in the country.
Yep, that's for sure. Brian,
Sir, IT consulting services.
new guy. Brian, what?
Brian Bowers.
I.e. Wolfman.
I got all kinds of weird nicknames. I've known these two
And my
guys.
neighbor.
Yeah, I've known these two guys for at least 10 years.
That is true.
Yeah, I've been doing this full time. Is my own business for 10 years, and basically helping small, mid-sized businesses with their IT needs. Basically, a company like this, I come in and I help them, and support them in their ongoing and project basis for whatever it is they need.
And he's helped me out of 1,000 gems.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I
Gets
screw up
it
my
done
computer, I
fast.
call him and I say, what was that you told me to do again?
Yeah.
He gets it done fast.
And
That's the best part.
what's the big challenge, big opportunity, anything that you're working on presently?
Right now, I'm working on doing refurb. A lot of people are looking to save money on used IT equipment, so I'm pulling out of different locations, refurbishing them, and then selling them on eBay. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going into Toshiba, pulling out 75 laptops and docking stations, and then getting ready to turn that around.
Wow. And do you have a staff, or is it just you? Or?
To me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Well, welcome. We usually take people through a hot seat when they're here the first time. And
Thanks
so,
for telling me that, Steve.
So we know your business is IT.
Yes.
Okay. Who is your customer, your ideal customer? Then I'm saying it in the singular. So.
Small, mid-sized businesses, 5 to 20 employees.
Way even narrower than that. The personification of a person. Who is that person?
Business owner.
Okay. And he's how many people work? Or yeah, really.
That sounds
Got a little train going on in the back.
If there's some train humping going on
Petticoat,
out
yeah,
there.
petticoat jump.
That's what it's called.
Okay, here they go. They're rolling backward now. Okay.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
You're a business owner, but how many? Like, what's the ideal amount of employees at that place?
It really varies. We can do well with 5 employees. We can do well with 20.
What's your preferred
Preferred is a law firm of 10 to 30 employees, or a medical device company, again 10, 20 employees.
Why is that? Why are those two industries important?
I've got a lot of deep knowledge in those, and not necessarily. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a medical device, but I've worked with a lot of different firms like that, and so I understand their business model and how I can bring things to the table and help them be successful.
Okay, great.
But everything that I do applies to any industry. I can help people with shutters and people in their home systems as well.
Okay.
Keep on screwing up.
Interesting. Interesting. What? How does your customer benefit from your service? But you can't be you now. You have to be your customer sharing you with somebody else. How do they benefit from your service? Now you have to be these. Now remember, you're the customer.
Sharing my shoes. What would I say?
So you got to use you in your third person. You got to talk about you in the third person now.
Brian really comes into any situation that I have, quickly rescues, figures out what the situation is, and rescues me so that I can be up and productive within a short period of time. I don't have a lot of downtime. I don't have inexperienced people working for 3 or 4 days trying to solve a problem. Brian comes in, 10, 15 minutes, problem solved, he moves on. Cool. Yeah. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%.
And what, now back to you, what do you do that makes you the best in the world in the eyes of this ideal customer?
I've got deep experience. I've got 20 plus years in the industry. I worked for 10 years in the corporate world, and what I do is I take the best practices from the corporate world and apply them to small and mid-sized businesses, because typically it's a business owner doesn't really understand the ramifications and the things that go along with IT, and it's very much Band-Aid, chewing gum, fix it if it's broken, don't touch it otherwise. And if you have a more systematic process with it, you're going to have more productivity, less downtime, and employees that can better do the job.
Okay, cool. And you answered it very well, by the way. And there's a way to narrow that down, and it's really been a good mindset for people that have gone through the process. And there's a correct answer, and you did answer it correctly. But the answer truly is, I am you, right? That's what makes me the best, is I am my customer. And I know what they're facing, and I know the challenges, and I know where they're going, and I've been there before, and I know the way. I know the obstacles, I know the shortcuts, I even know what they're telling themselves right now. So you did so many words, that's exactly what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
And so that whole, when you're able to really crystallize in 3 words, like, well, what do you do that makes you the best? I am you. Yeah. I am you with a better system. And I know what it's like to have that better system. I know where you're going, and I know the challenges that you're going to face, and I know how you're even going to rationalize it, And so to be able to articulate that to somebody, they're like, whoa, because to start off by saying, I am you, they're like, holy crap. Because the greatest thing we can be is somebody that gets another, right? Because when we can articulate those needs, desires, challenges, fears, and aspirations of the other person better than they can to themselves, we become their trusted advisor for life.
Right.
Now we just keep adding value to that. You, again, said it. It wasn't like you were wrong. I'm not trying to correct it. I'm just saying, trying to almost tell the story better than you did for yourself, and just be able to have that I am you attitude, especially when you're able to narrow it down to medical device people or attorneys, law firms with 10 to 30 employees. You're able to articulate that stuff better than they can to themselves, because chances are they're really good attorneys, or they're attorneys, whatever, however you want to pronounce that. They're not IT guys. And so when an IT guy comes in and says, well, what do you want to do? It's like, shit, I don't know. That's, if you tell me,
right.
I want to grow, I want to have better information, and all of a sudden you can say, well, do you want this and do you want that? Because you are them,
right.
You're able to guide them to what they really want.
And that's part of my pitch when I talk with them. It's like, I don't want to just know what the issues are and what you're looking to do now. I want to understand your business, understand where you're going, and then best use IT to get you to that point where you want to go. Because they don't know, I need this and I need that.
No.
I need,
We got compliance issues and PCI issues if they're doing transactions that are changing because of the whole Target mess.
Yeah.
All kinds of crap going on.
Well, I'm getting calls every day from my old website, the PCI compliance people. but I use Shopify, and Shopify possesses all the PCI compliance. So I'm like, stop calling me. I'm using Shopify, you know, and so.
But they're changing all
Who's
the
your
card
gateway?
readers and all
Are you
kinds
using
of stuff.
PayPal or using something else? Because Shopify is the shopping cart, but you
Actually, they have a gateway in Shopify.
It's a
as
gateway.
well.
Okay. They do the credit card
Yeah,
processing and all that.
and like it's $100 a month for
Oh.
the gateway.
I didn't know they had that.
And speaking of gateway, the one I don't know if anybody signed up for it, if they're using it here, Samcart that Brian Moran is good. That the second you sign up for their shopping cart, which is so simple, it's as easy as talking to set up any kind of cart and put stuff in. I mean, it's like setting up a Facebook ad or even simpler than that. You know, it's even more simple than that. Maybe doing a Facebook post, you know, it's kind of how simple it is to set the shopping cart up. But the second you sign up, you sign up, you're already a customer, an automatic customer of Swipe. And there's no additional fees for it. They charge obviously their fee for the transaction, but you're already a customer of Swipe. And
What is Swipe? Is it like a PayPal type thing?
it's a gateway. It's a deal. But you know, for right now, he's doing it $79 a month. If you sign up, I think you get into the beta part of it.
Mm-hmm.
At $79 a month is going to go to $279. Either at the end, I think it's at the end of this month. Wild Things Seafood. Wild Things Seafood. Yeah. So so you know but the PCI thing is enormously important, and I've got to actually go back to them and go through there, you know, make sure that's somewhere along the line we're PCI compliant for my wife's business as well. So.
Well, that'll, yeah, and then if you're doing anything with card readers, that's all getting blown up too.
Yeah.
Because they're going to a chip now because of what happened to Target.
Yeah, that's for sure. Go ahead there, Doctor. What did you say?
Dr. Strangelove.
Elisa, what was it? It was what kind of thinker was it? Disruptive
Disruptive
thinker.
thinker.
Right? Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Disruptive.
Steve, I have two small businesses. One is called Shutter Nation, where we sell custom blinds and shutters direct to consumers, and the other.
Well, what's your USP on that?
Oh, it's 35% less than Costco, 20% less than Home Depot. I was in the hot seat when we came up with that, and I was sweating.
And it's so funny because it's the most obvious stuff, right? It's not.
Everybody misses it.
It's you just when you're in your own head, it's something that's so close.
That's why a group like this is
It's like right here, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else can see it except me. It's like writing on my forehead. Everybody else can see it, but except me.
Yeah. So on that business, I'm gonna build it bigger, and we generate 100% of our leads online, and now we're gonna start digging deeper and do some offline marketing as well, and then start expanding and growing and get it ready to sell in the next couple of years.
What kind of offline marketing?
We're gonna use home improvement magazines.
Okay.
And we'll have a special buy 5 get the 6th free.
Buy 5 what?
Shutters and get the 6th free.
I'm gonna help Steven with all his street fairs, and I got a ton of stuff I've got suggestions for him. It'll be
Yeah, I have
expensive
a
and
friend
things like that.
who actually owns Reborn Cabinets.
Oh, good.
And they do all that too.
Yeah.
When you get some really great copy and something that's super compelling, I think using the mailbox we all grew up with,
Mhm.
you know, the inbox we all grew up with, the one out in the street that we go to every day.
Yep.
To be able to have something, whether it's a lumpy mail deal, and to be able to do that, it's scary how a properly placed, properly worded, call to action with something in it, how that converts, especially in something that's a relatively high
It's a high ticket item. And so I actually spent the week going online and looking at these magazines, everything from the Clifford to anything from Gannett to the Home Mag, and opening up the magazines all over the country and looking for people in my vertical and calling and talking to these cats.
That's great.
And
Brilliant.
finding out what works, what doesn't work.
Brilliant.
And so I developed a profile for that.
Were they receptive to you just asking questions, or were they?
They were. I was really surprised.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, I had to tell them, well, we generate 100% of our leads now online. They're like, well, how do you do that? Well, I just happen to own another company called Blind Brokers Network.
We sell websites to blind guys, made by blind guys.
We have another business where we sell websites and SEO services exclusively to window covering retailers around the country. We charge them $400 setup and $200 a month, and they get a $5,000 website. And we make a killer website, and we do all their SEO for them, and they're usually very, very happy. And then we also offer pay-per-click services as well. And now we're adding on 2 more levels of engagement, where we'll be, for $1,500 a month, we'll take care of all your pay-per-click. We'll throw $600 a month at your pay-per-click for you. We'll manage everything. We'll do all your social media. We'll do all your blog posting. We'll do everything for you. And then after that, the next step that we're going to be pioneering is reputation management and reputation marketing.
You got to have a reputation first.
Yeah, we got to. Well, it's amazing what the reputation management and marketing is going to dominate the internet in the next 3 years. All SEO companies are going to be having to switch over to this new style of marketing system at Google. And as you know, if you're a small businessman, Google is on its 5th name for the Google Maps. As of yesterday, it's now called Google My Business. Genius.
Good Lord.
But it works. Sign up for it for your business.
Sonny, you got his phone number, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's one of those guys in this hard goods world, in this, as some of us would call, real commerce. He's definitely a guy to know, and I think that, for not only being able to earn some money, but be able to learn from a different angle, because Stephen has hardly even gone past the surface on his experience in the franchising world and full business development and optimization. So
I'd happily pick his brain.
Well, leave some for us. Cool. Thanks, Stephen. What's the big project now?
Go ahead.
What's the big project for you now?
Working on the building my Shutter Nation business bigger.
The Shutter Nation business.
Bigger. And I want to get it to a point where I can sell it. And if I don't sell it, I want to step away and do macro management of it and let it keep going. But I make more money setting up websites and doing SEO.
Perfect.
I'm just gonna have one more client soon.
Yeah, well, actually, I want him to teach me to SEO some stuff too. I could sell more fish.
I might have a guy for you.
Good.
I know a guy.
My name's Jeff Moore, and this is my office here at International Pacific Seafoods and Wild Things Seafood. I'm a seafood guy. I'm a food guy. A supply chain expert, and a marketer, a passionate marketer. And I, the big thing that's going on for me right now is I've been doing a lot of consulting and talking to people about things outside of my core business. And I'm starting to identify or recognize the fact that a lot of people that are serious players in marketing and online see me as the seafood guy, and see me as kind of the food guy or the wild things guy, or in that food service business. And I'm really having a fun time in the last short period of time re-engaging with my old self. And I posted on Facebook tonight, just before this came on, the old story with Earl Nightingale that he tells called Acres of Diamonds, and really starting to cultivate those acres of diamonds again, I really, truly, was introduced. Joe Polish introduced me to JJ Virgin, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do some business with a nutritionist, and I didn't really know much about her. I knew that she, by reading her acknowledgments in her book, that like she really, was a person that goes from gratitude, but a person that really does a hell of a job building a team of world-class people around her. Never knew when I met her, 8 weeks ago, how truly connected she is, and the people that she's introduced me to over the last couple of months has been extraordinary, and all of them are, our connection is through supply chain, seafood, and helping these people develop, or just share what I do. Or develop their business with a better supply chain and access to greater food and more economical seafood, and so it's just the beginning with that, but that's really the identity. I mean, there's a lot of people in the boardroom that say, I know that you're in the seafood business, but that's not how we see you. We see you as somebody that's a business optimization guy and things. And great, well, I can still be that and be really great at seafood, and that's really what I'm honed down for, and that's why I said, Boardroom is going to meet once a month live, because it's just the time and the energy to get it all together, and it's not that it takes a big part of my day to physically set this type of stuff up. By the looks of this, of course it wouldn't, but it just some things that I'm going to be doing that are going to, just like all of you, you're working on elements in your life that you want to grow, and that's the same thing that I want to do, and do that. I'm going to share stuff. We're going to continue to interact on Facebook, and there's going to be some other things that we interact, and there's probably going to be a weekly blog that will go out, and so looking forward to starting that. But the things the big things that I'm dealing with right now is I've got some health things that I've been dealing with and working with. Found the absolute tragedy of the HMO system. I'm on an HMO, and because having kids and that type of thing, you're in the doctor a lot, so having an HMO is probably a smart deal. But now I'm dealing with thyroid and different hormonal adrenal system issues, and they're like, okay, yeah, we're going to get you to a specialist, and first specialist appointment's August 26th.
So soon.
And so, trying to just reclaim my health and reclaim my energy is a big deal. But even a little bit of reclaiming of my energy helps me open my eyes and see the tremendous opportunity or acres of diamonds that I'm standing on here with seafood. Can I help a friend, and can I work with a couple of selected people in their business? Absolutely. Is that going to be my primary business? Absolutely not. And so even I've had some tremendous opportunities. When you get these opportunities with somebody that you have admired and revered for so long, and they ask you to come in and work with them, you're like, whoa, you're torn. But to me, I'm going to start looking at that stuff very critically and say, is it swimming? Am I dealing with something in seafood? Is by accepting that type of job or that type of opportunity, does that hurt my ability to lead this company, and do the things that we want to get done here? And so identifying the opportunities that are within this organization is my big challenge and my big priority. And it's not just a 60 or a 90-day thing. It's an ongoing thing. I do want this company to be, as you talk about, I want this company to be ready to sell by December of 2015. Not that we're going to sell it, but I certainly want this company to be ready to sell by 2015.
You really need to talk.
And I'm certainly, by the end of this year, I want this company to be running in such a way that I'm able to look at it from a perspective of an outsider and help and do that type of thing. And so that's my that's my big goal, and that's what I'm working on. And I think some of the things that I've learned over the last several weeks is we talked about it a little bit earlier, is as we try and progress towards a direction, instead of taking a thing, and looking at, like I want to build a website or I want to do this, look at everything in its most granular sense and take that on in almost an excruciatingly slow but consistent process as it goes. And so everything is finished. Everything that you start, you can finish. If in fact it's a website, and you start to say, I'm going to do my website, you might have finished building the homepage, but it's not finished, right? And so I had lunch with a guy last week by the name of John Jazerski, and he's run U.S. Foods, and he's a hired gun for a $2 billion meat company now that literally brought him on board, let him do whatever he wants just to have him on their bench. So when they're evolving into their next step, he's the guy. He's there, and they've already got him in place. And within the first 6 months of him being with this organization, they said, we want you to speak at our national sales meeting. Okay, $2 billion company, so it's not like us guys in a room. There's quite a few people, quite a few salespeople across their entire spectrum. And they said, do you need a PowerPoint? Do you need this? Do you need that? All the different technologies. Like, no, I just need a flip chart and a big pen. Like, okay. And so Dave comes to sales meeting. There's, probably 60 people in the room. He walks up on the stage and takes the big pen and writes on the flip chart, finish. And he just started talking about what we do in the course of the day. We've got that to-do list, or we've got that task list. And he says, just start calling it a finish list. He said, from the very beginning, when we start with the end in mind, and we start talking about that, but then we go back and say, here are the things I've got to do today, we're doing those to get to the end. What are those things that you're going to finish? And it really forces you to put things in more granular and progressive in a framework that way that helps you. And so for me, that's where it is. I'm not going to start something unless I can see the finish, and I'm able to quantify the finish. And that's why when we were talking with Elisa here, is what is that quantifiable result that you offer at the end? How do we know? I will talk to people, and I've talked to people in here, that says, what does success look like? What are you doing? And so when you finish, what does success look like? What does it do for you? And so what it does is it helps us frame the finish. Hey, I'm doing this, so what does, okay, great. When Dave, the Naked Interview gentleman, when David was here, and he was talking about, David Jensen, and he was talking about be diligent, right? Not desperate. And that was kind of one of his chapters, and I raised my hand, and I'm like, how do I know when I'm being diligent? And he kind of looked at me like, what, you don't know what diligent means? And I'm like, I know what I think it means. But what are the criteria based on the Naked Interview? What are the 5 things, right? I know I'm being diligent when, and I'm able to just go check, 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 check. And Joseph Rodriguez is a very strong proponent of this, is making checklists, and making checklists that recognize there's a progressive finish and a purpose for finishing something. And that, to me, I think is, whether I'm selling seafood or whether I'm working, consulting for a company or even helping my wife with her business, it's what are those things and how do they fit to the overall scheme of things? And so that's what's been going on with me. And I think that, as I gain more and more energy back, that'll get more crystallized. But there's a huge opportunity here. I think the evolution of my company is going to be more joint venture partnerships with other suppliers and global importers and providers, because we have great relationships. We have a lot of relational capital that we've created and developed over the years and cultivated over the years that we are going to use. But without me putting my full energies and focus into something, you know, in that period of time, the day that requires it, it's never going to happen. And looking at, I don't know how many of you guys have, you know, a company that has several people in it. You can tell when your focus is waned, and you go back to that company and you start to look around and you're like, why is that happening? Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Why is that happening?
Bastards.
Look around. If things aren't happening the way you want them to happen within your own company, there's only one person that you should be looking at. The mirror. It's exactly. And that is, what is the impact that you've been making as a leader to help guide them? These people work for you. You know, you've made it to your position in life because you've optimized those moments of distinction and been able to come up with solutions that other people didn't see. And in absence of that, how do you expect your company to continue to evolve and grow? And so, you know, I'm literally speaking as if I'm talking to the proverbial mirror right now. But that's important. And so leadership, and you know, we hear it's such an overused word, you know, in term. When people talk about leadership, you're like, but you can crystallize that into the fact that, you know, how are these people evolving? Are you looking at people that are working so hard that they seem to be deteriorating around you? That is a symptom of a lack of leadership. And, you know, that's something that I'm experiencing right now. And you know, for, you know, in a lot of ways, no fault of my own, you know, or I guess immediately, you know, when you're having issues with thyroid or whatever, that your batteries aren't fully charged on a daily basis. And so it's very easy to become distracted and tired. But it's every day's a new day. And so that's why I'm here. You know, I'm here because I get a lot of inspiration from everybody that comes in here and participates. The new faces that we see that are here, I get that too. So that's what's going on with me.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I'd like to bring a subject. Last time you touched on a subject, you were telling us about Cheesecake Factory engineering the plate.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been consumed with that, thinking about that, applying that concept to my business, and figuring out my key performance indicators to measure better and better and better. And that concept, there's something there.
It's menu engineering.
Menu engineering. See?
What was the word you kids said though? What you said? Plate engineering? Is that what you call it?
Engineering the plate,
Okay.
but he meant to say engineering the menu.
They break it down to the cost of the garnish. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, yeah, they have a food cost on that. And I guess that's exactly what we were talking about. We were talking also about when you're doing menu engineering, it might not necessarily be the least expensive thing that you have that you want to lead with, or the most expensive thing, but you certainly want the items that are of the highest profitability and have that demonstrative, or they exhibit the most demonstrative value and for your restaurant. Okay, so the customer goes, man, I love that, or whatever. And so at that point, you want to be able to take the customer experience and optimize the profitability within that item. And that's where menu engineering is. So you can look at that item and say, I make this much from that item. My partner at Claim Jumper, Craig Nikoloff, used to be able to tell you his plate profit contribution of every single item on his menu. And then he was able to engineer the placement of that item on the menu to give it to maximize. Instead of making us, I mean, you can do the things where you put squares around stuff, but it's as simple as the location on the menu, just like you do on a website.
Same thing you do in a grocery store.
Same thing you do in a grocery store. And guess where else? Same place, same thing you do at Hometown Buffet. When you place those things there, you might offer something that's not as profitable, but it's going to be, you know, up to the left and you know, a couple of dishes back and things. So, you know, if somebody really wants it's going to go that way. But to be able to look at everything on what is it you offer and what is the most profitable thing, but what is the thing that offers the most demonstrative value.
Well, I've been trying to apply that to our new packages for internet marketing that we want to offer people and our new ideas. And I just wanted to let you know that that has spawned an idea in my head, the ideation of my life. And oh, jeez. If you ever know, ideation is a word from
Food service.
No, actually, it also comes from a book called Strength Finders 2.0. I recommend it to everybody. It's a great test to take online. Spend the $16, and it identifies your strength. It's made by the Gallup group from over 2 million interviews, and it's remarkable. And it's like, why waste if you're a terrible accountant in your business, don't waste 2 minutes learning how to do the minutia of accounting. Right. Know the broad part, and go on. Go focus on revenue generating activities. Well, my number one thing is ideation, which means you take ideas from many different industries and put them together. And also, I'm an activator. I actually do the things I say I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm. So what is your first one? What's your number one?
Ideation.
Did you take it?
I've taken it.
Have you taken it?
I haven't taken it. My wife has.
Where?
Strength Finders 2.0.
What a bunch of slubs!
Well, I just heard it I heard it 30 seconds ago.
And what are you?
Woo.
Oh, that means he likes to woo people. He's a salesman.
Woo.
How long does this take to take? Is it 2 hours? Is it an
No,
hour?
No, it's about half hour.
Half hour.
Okay, cool.
Half hour.
You know, it's funny. I'm reading
It's freaking brilliant, is what it is.
Steve Jobs biography right now, which if you haven't read it, it's
Which one?
the ones that Alan Isaacson or whoever that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's brilliant. But the thing that I found fascinating was the design of the box. I had no idea they got patents on the boxes. When you open up an iPad, I used to think, wow, this is really cool, but there's a patent on every box that they've ever had. And Johnny Ive designed that so that when you open it, how pretty it was. But it goes to that thinking of when you look at stuff, customer experience, you know. And it's funny, there's people that make videos on YouTube that have thousands of views that make a living buying a cell phone and hey, I'm opening
I'm
unpackaging, look
unboxing
at, wow,
videos.
yeah, I'm unboxing, and I mean,
Yeah.
I just used to think, what, get a life, man, what is wrong with you?
No, they make money.
They make money doing that.
Apple is so mentally retarded. I have a friend who is president of a company that makes.
They're so mentally retarded because all that cash that lays on top of their head.
There are 7 of us stock
I was going to say they
players.
just split.
Yeah.
Well, they make a fake metal that's 100 times stronger than steel and titanium, and it's used in medical instruments. Apple buys the stuff from them just for packaging. He showed me a photograph that they sent him that the edge of the piece of metal they magnified by 100 million times, and you could see it was kind of ragged. Of course, to the touch, it's perfect. No, that's not good enough. It needs to be better. Really?
Yeah, see, that goes to,
Nobody
it goes to the
sees it.
Steve Jobs thinking of the parts. You know, when you have a box, you know, people don't care about what's behind the box. Why can't we have plywood behind it? Because you'll know that there's plywood behind it, and the quality of everything that goes into something is just as important as how it looks. I mean, they have all these thinkings behind it. It's really cool.
I love it.
You got it. You know, I think I talked about it last time, but I would strongly encourage everybody that's listening to this or in this room who's got an Audible account. You guys have an Audible account?
And let it go.
You guys suck at all of this.
Thank you.
Do you guys have a CD player in your car?
I do.
I have a reel.
You have a real. Do you have
an
cassette?
I have an 8-track with the Bee Gees.
Do you have a Kindle or?
I have a cell phone that's about this big.
Yeah, great. A Mobira, a big block that you used to. The Obstacle is the Way, from Ryan Holiday. It is the most insanely great read or listen, as the case may be. The Obstacle is the Way.
The Obstacle is the Way by
Ryan Holiday.
Ryan Holiday.
Who is Pete's favorite author and my favorite author, too. Pete's the one that came in and told us all. Pete Mitchell came in and said, you got to get the book Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday. And there's actually, if you're listening to Entrepreneur on Fire, Ryan Holiday's second interview that John did, I think, about a month ago. Listen to that interview of Ryan Holiday, and you're going to buy everything that guy ever did. But the obstacle is the way is really kind of an essay on the understanding and practical application and experience. Is almost like a field manual instead of a book report type thing. It's a field report about stoicism. It's about stoicism. So as Marcus Aurelius, the last great emperor, was probably the most noted writer and teacher in study of Stoicism and of the works of Seneca and the earlier works of people. But basically, in a nutshell, Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And you can't stop reading or thinking about this book. And it literally has practical applications for what you do every single day. The last line of the chapter that he was reading as I was pulling into the driveway last night was, failure shows us the way because it shows us what is not the way. By showing us what is not the way. Failure shows us the way by showing us what is not the way. And that to truly look at failure and embrace it and almost, drive toward it. Yep. Because failure, they say, is almost exactly the same as paying to go to college. The amount of learning that you get through the failure process, if you turn around and apply it, it's the same thing as going to college, right? I went to college for 4 years and I racked up $100 and some thousand in college tuition and all the other things that I did, but I'm not using any of it. The same thing as somebody that fails and doesn't learn from their experience.
Wasn't the president of IBM the one that has the famous story about the guy who lost $10 million? He walked in the president's office and said, I guess I'm fired. He goes, you kidding? I just spent $10 million educating you.
Right, exactly. And you're right. And so to know and to read, to think that, first of all, the entrepreneurial spirit is based in stoicism, and to be able to look at the things as they are and not as, and look at them beyond just the romance of something or the tragedy of something, but look at them as a true solution finder. Okay, so you would read this and immediately connect with it. It would be that type of, what is it? How do I fix it? What does that mean? How do I fix it? And if there's a suggestion that I would make, I would highly recommend that everybody jump on that. And again, if you don't have the time to read it, that's fine. Get the Kindle version. I've got the Kindle version, the hard copy version, and the Audible version, just so I'm able to go, God, what was that quote? I'm sitting on my phone just, cool, going all the way through. But he talks about Steve Jobs. And one of the things, that's why I was bringing it up so long-windedly, is that Steve Jobs, when they made the first iPhone, they had a glass that they had a certain glass that they wanted made. And everybody just said, we can't make it in that kind of quantity, the way you want it. And he refused to accept that answer from anybody. And what ended up happening was an entire industry was created to create this glass, and now there's equipment and all things that were created for this particular, glass in this particular for this particular product. And so to be able to the obstacle is the way. And they talk about there's an old story that goes, a king that was very disappointed in the way his subjects and his townspeople had become entitled and lazy, that he rolled a big boulder out in front of the entry to the main entry to the town, and he hid in the forest next to it and watched people come up and try and work their way around or try and move the boulder, only to become discouraged and go away. And and curse the king for allowing this to happen, and all these things as he's watching it. And he says, finally, a drifter comes over and sees the rock in the way and starts to try and move the rock, and he can't do it. He's trying, finally goes into the forest and creates kind of like an Archimedes lever to move the rock and move the boulder out of the way. And what was underneath the boulder was this cache of gold with a note that basically said, there can be obstacles, but it was something about there can be things in your path, but never should anything block your determination and your drive, something like that. And then talking about the obstacle is the way. And this guy, ended up with all the gold, because he stayed persistent to where he was going and persistent to his path. And it's just, there's just tons of lessons like that in there. And so, like I said, I would definitely encourage that to go through that. But what, if there's something now that you're working on, right? If you're working on whatever those projects may be, what possibly is there a reason why? Are things going as fast as you want them to go? And is there a reason why they're not? Are things going as fast as you want them to go, Dan?
They never are.
Okay. But what is the one thing right now that you want to go faster? If there's one major thing to go faster.
Well, you know what? The awning company's progressing, but I wish it was going faster. I wish it was. I wish I was getting more leads faster, and I'm seeing that there is, like you said, a field of diamonds. It's just getting it. We sell shades, so this is the window right now.
I need to talk.
So,
okay, so how many leads are you getting a day?
Anywhere from, let's say, a low point of 1 to 5. It just depends.
And what would be, in your opinion, at this stage of the game, what would you like? Where would you like to see?
I'd like to see like 8, 10, a dozen a day. And
what happens? Let's call it a dozen. So what would have to happen for you to get a dozen leads? I mean, is there a metric? Is there some kind of deal that says we make X number of calls, we get,
You know what? Right now, it's just gearing up at that. If every day it's busier, and I see it increasing, and I see that now we're going to do more with the website. We're going to mail our existing customers. We found the thing about us is we sell a visual product where people drive down the street and you could do a new roof and no one cares. You could do a swimming pool in the back of the house. You put awnings in the front of the house and people go, wow, what did they do to that house? And we found a company that mails. You pick an address and they'll mail 100, 200, 500 people around that neighborhood, and it's a cool service. And that, I'm going to try that.
You can do that
Yeah.
from the post office.
MML.
Oh, really?
It's called MML or something like that. It's an acronym.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
EDDM.
Yeah.
It's EBDM.
Just slow down. One more time.
It's EDDM, as in every door direct mail.
There you go.
Thank you.
See?
Okay, cool.
Look at
Excellent.
Pete.
Thank you.
Coming
Thank
in
you,
and
Pete.
adding value. Let's break out the big guns marketing. Bust out the
It's
big
cheap.
guns,
It's
right.
like 17.5 cents a lead. They do
Okay.
the whole for you.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to go to the post office tomorrow and talk to them.
Okay, so this,
Well, they're on-
now that's
you
the
know,
thing,
check- you check
right?
online.
What we were just getting at. What is the granular next step, right? If we're talking about this as a staircase, if the only step that's lit is the next one, what's the next step?
Well, I'm going to do that. Stephen and I spoke about 3 months ago when I wasn't ready. And I thought, you know what, I've got to be ready. Now,
Ready for what?
ready because, hey, I have this idea of I'm going to open this business and let's work together. And we had lunch and it was really productive. But I thought about that and I thought I should have had all my ducks in a row and been ready for him. And now that we've been up and going, we're ready for him, and we're ready to have him do his thing with the website. And I'd love to be the guinea pig that did that he does the pay-per-click with and all that stuff.
Because I can make him an offer where he can expand on what he does. We can bring on, when we bring on a new vertical, Like if we're going to bring on window washers, I'm only going to hire a window washer who's used my services to be the point man, because he's the only one who's going to talk to the window washers. Just same thing if we do awnings. He's the only guy who's going to talk to awning guys. He's the go-to guy in the awning industry, and we'll set him up the same way that we've done the inbound marketing for us. It's a duplicatable model.
That's great.
And the other thing is that we've gone to the property management companies, and I've known a lot of people in the industry through the years. You know, what's your problem with vendors? What's your problem with contractors? And they all talk about service and how quick they get on everything, and you know, we've tried to solve it as quick as possible. So, you know, they don't, you know, awnings don't break on a shopping center every day or an apartment complex, but they do. And
so you talk to EDDN, you go to the post office and you have this conversation with EDDN.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
Then I want to generate the piece and do that. If I don't have to use this company and it can save me money, I can get a better piece.
And what is the piece going to say?
The piece is going to say, again, this is generic. We did this at your neighbor's house. Wouldn't you like to find out what it would cost? And have a call to action that would get them to where they could get an estimate, save some money.
Why does somebody get awnings?
To cool a room down, to add space. You can add a retractable awning that can cover your patio on the click of a button. Get rid of it. You know, if you add a patio cover, you've got to get a permit. You've got your property taxes going up. I can install an awning in 4 hours, and you know, you've got something that's thousands of dollars less than your patio cover. The fabric's got a 10-year warranty to it now. So it's the same thing you have in a boat. It's going to last 12 years.
When you do this direct mail piece,
Pete, I want you to weigh in on this one.
how many dollars are you going to spend to market that?
Again, I haven't put that much thought into it. I'm going to do it, but I haven't put, you know, I found this one company. I thought, wow, this would be great because I could either send them the piece or they could print the piece.
Right.
But that, I guarantee if the post office will do it, it'll be cheaper with the post office, and I could spend more money on the piece.
Hey, Pete?
You know,
Yes, sir.
When he's talking about copy, is it the quantifiable benefit of this thing being when you cool down a house? What is the kind of savings that you have during the summer when you're not running your air conditioning as much by adding extra square feet to your usable square feet to your property? What are some of the other things that you would put as benefit-driven elements, something like that?
Well, not really knowing that business that well, I would take a look at all the current and past clients and really see what motivated them to buy. What was their trigger? Because the direct mail piece, or any piece for that matter, you know, whether you're doing Google ads or Facebook ads or whatever, you got to tap into that benefit. What are people really after? As Gary Halbert would say, what's the bait that's going to make them bite? What's the bait that they're going to bite on?
Yep. Gary Halbert's birthday today, too, by the way.
No, happy birthday.
He's dead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the late Gary Halbert.
It's the late great Gary
Sorry
Halbert.
about
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying too. It's you know what hey, you might have put something up for this neighbor, but what did the neighbor get? You know, why did the neighbor do that? And I think by discussing and talking to your old customers and one, you're going to get new, they're going to do something again with you, I'm sure. There's something you have to offer. Weren't you saying that when it's canvas, there's nothing you can do except replace it?
The advantage to it is that people paint their house, they change the color. You get people that, and if they sell the house, the beauty of it is that, the new owner wants to know who did the job, so we've got, a lead there. The other thing is, we were so concerned about the do not call list through the years, is that I saved every lead we ever generated from the company. So I have over 60,000 leads of Southern California homeowners that needed shade on their house at one time. And the majority of my products are higher end.
He's got to do the 9-word email.
Yeah, totally.
You still need awnings?
Yeah.
Totally.
They're close to Steve.
Do you know what the 9-word email is?
No.
Go on Google and say 9-word email.
I use it every day.
And then listen to the I Love Marketing episode about the 9-year email,
Okay.
the most convertible email on the planet. But with 60,000.
Now my mail, and I don't have email addresses in all those people.
Doesn't matter.
I've got so many, but see the value in the business, and what made me get back into this business is somebody wanted to offer me to buy. I want your customer list because I have over 5,000 customers, and I want your leads. And I thought about this. Wait, why am I not doing this again?
Right.
And why am I not? And I think I'm a writer, and I'm going to always be a writer, and that's always going to be back there. But this is a fun business. It's a simple business. I'm not, in the sense that you go out and you sell somebody an awning on their house. I mean, these guys go out and they change, this multi-million-dollar house in 2 hours, and the people are floored. They're happy, and again, it's they spend $2,000 and they're ecstatic. The looks, everything.
See, I think that there's I think like Pete was saying, the benefit-driven element in this thing is these people just changed their awning, and what does an awning do for them? What did it do? And it created a cooler environment in their house. They were able to shade the room.
Yeah, save on air conditioning.
Save on air conditioning. All those things. And being able to almost look and do some research on how that quantifies the quantifiable savings and what they're able to do with that. But the benefits that the customers receive without being as clinical, but to be able to talk to that, and talk to those people. Back to the same thing. I am you, right? And so you're able to speak in their language. But I would, it's funny, you just say I consider myself a writer. Hey, Pete, did you ever take the Simple Writing System course?
I don't think I took the whole thing. I think I got like a condensed version, but I did go through, and I love the kick-ass copywriting secrets.
Okay, I've got all of that, and I'm going through Simple Writing System right now, and I've written copy and direct response, and I write, the memo from, the letter from the chairman that are on a lot of websites and stuff like that. And so I figure, I've kind of fashioned myself as somebody that knows how to write. David Garfinkel, who's a world-class copywriter, is my professor in this thing. And he's taking me through step by step in that excruciatingly slow, granular process that we're talking about. And, what is the market? Who is your avatar? I mean, these things where you're like, oh, God, let's get to the good stuff. Holy crap. It's the absolute, I mean, this guy doesn't mess around. And you can always, when you bring your writing out to people, it's amazing how much better your writing will be if you allow yourself to get your ass.
What's the name of that?
Simple Writing System. It's closed right now. It's John Carlton's.
Oh, okay.
But the whole, reading, and also, by the way, you're in this class, and you can go to anybody's class within this and watch their responses and watch what their teachers are saying to them. Nothing like it. It is the most amazing experience that, when I'm sitting there going, geez, I run 2 companies, I got this thing going on with my wife, I got, who has time for this stuff? It's amazing. I mean, I would strongly encourage anybody to, at least even if it's just masterminding or getting someone like Pete,
oh yeah,
to look, and engage him and hire him in some way to look at your stuff and just collaborate with your stuff instead of just doing it from a blank page. It's really, really powerful. I mean, really eye-opening. A little painful.
Can I ask a question here? Are you going back to the well that worked 10 years ago?
I'm going back to the well because the customer base did work. I'm going back to that well of people that were happy because, yes, in one sense, but I'm doing different things today that we didn't do back then. We didn't have things computerized. The leads are computerized. I get an email of a picture of the house. I can tell you what the house looks like before I'm even there. And I know if they're a candidate for the product before I even write it to their house. And if I don't think they are, where the house is shaded with trees or something, and I give them a call and work it out over the phone. But that has saved me. I've sold business from that, but it's also saved me money all the way around. There's nobody's not home.
What's your point in the question?
The point in the question is, in the last 5 years, home services like yours and mine have changed so dramatically.
Absolutely. It went down to, there was a point in time, which is why I got out of it, where it
How
went
they
down to
changed?
nothing.
How they changed?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Today you have, if you optimize correctly online, 82% of the consumers, and your consumers are no different than mine, they started online. They're looking for you. I'd say put my money there online, because those people are looking for you. I don't have to convince them to buy an awning. They already want one. That's why they're looking for me.
This is called the age of the customer.
Right.
Jim Blassingame just wrote a book called The Age of the Customer. Years ago, a salesperson would come in, and the company or the person.
Dale, hang in there with us because I'm going to call on you next.
They would have to rely on the knowledge of the salesperson because the customer didn't have all that knowledge and technology. Now the customer has the ability to shop
And learn.
and learn everything prior, so it's called the age of the customer. And so the salesperson becomes less relevant.
True.
Interesting.
That's it.
Free reports on your website are spectacular. Videos on your website, like you've seen ours, we have 12 videos on our
Oh yeah,
website. It's all, and I can tell by how long and how many views on those videos what people look for, and never in a million years.
There's
a term for that too.
Is shutters over sliding glass doors still number one?
Yes.
No, it's
But
amazing.
in a wide market.
Really? There's a term for that. It's called ZMOT.
Zero?
ZMOT. Zero moment of truth.
What's that mean?
It's when I'm looking at brand A, B, and C, and it's that moment of truth when I make that decision on that product or that service.
And what's the point of it?
That's just, well, there's a book called ZMOT, and that's the whole premise is that when you're designing your website or you're designing, again, it goes back to the age of the customer as well. Everything's online. It's the zero moment of truth when I'm going to make a decision. That baby carriage versus that baby carriage, or that awning versus that shade.
And so it's orchestrating the message that drives them to that ZMOT.
Yeah.
And
providing them the information.
providing
so
them
they
with
can
the
make a
information all the way.
Yeah.
Were you listening to that?
No, I didn't listen.
I swear to God, it's what you do face to face or, voice to voice every day. Can you imagine being able to create a marketing funnel that orchestrated that message 100 times a day?
Yeah. I mean, that's my biggest dilemma is I'm saying the same thing over an email or over the phone. It's the same thing.
Who's your customer?
The college, the college, high school, high school, college.
It can be a
division
coach at the high school level, or it could be the equipment manager at the D1 level.
College, because he's doing sports comp.
Right. No, I got that, but I was just wondering in the sense of, I understand the coach on the sideline, but do they have a technical group behind them that makes the decision, or is it usually the coach because of preference?
Coach.
It's at the high school level. It's generally the coach that's doing it, or he's got a booster dad or whatever that's got money and is out there searching for it. But at the Division I level, it's generally the equipment manager's the gateway to the IT guy or whoever that's running.
But the decision is based on what they want the system to do.
Exactly, the zero moment of truth.
And that's the coach, right? The head coach. How many coaches do I want on my system?
If you, in the Division I world, if you asked a coach what he wears on game day,
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the experience, what he wants to have on his sidelines.
You're
Not
there
the
to
equipment,
manage
but
his
he wants to-
experience.
What's he trying to call for?
the coaches, just to clarify, the coaches, all they want to do is put on a belt pack, they don't care whose it is, and the headset, and they want it to work.
And they want a certain amount of coaches to be able to
Communicate.
communicate. And based on the type of equipment they have and the type of spectrum that they have, it can be limited.
That is correct.
And so then all of a sudden they're looking at the fact that, well, I want 12 coaches to communicate, and you're like, only 8 can communicate on this system, and then you have to get another system that does 4, but those 4 can't communicate with the 8, right?
No, they can't. They can't. That's what we do is we integrate.
Yeah.
So I'll take whoever, you give me system A, B, or C, and I'll make A, B, and C work together.
You know, you were talking about what she was doing. He was talking earlier with Elisa about video of the should ask questions to the frequently asked questions and doing those short deals. That is so in your wheelhouse, and it's literally to be able to set that up and spend a day cranking that out with a good, with good lighting and a sound and something that would represent quality, that somebody would watch, and to be able to have that type of stuff, and to be able to share it systematically with somebody as you're following up with a conversation with a coach. Hey, by the way, just so you know, you don't have to remember everything or write down everything I'm saying. I'm sending you this video that literally explains it to you again.
You have no idea how powerful that is.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I
And
even
it's
have a
worth the money to
66-page
spend
book
to get somebody to do it.
electronically.
I was just listening to Dan Sullivan and Joe Polish on that 10X talk. There's episode 18. It's a great episode. And that's how they ended the thing, was with the doctor, I think, that sent him a video. I think it was Joe Polish. Joe Polish hurt his shoulder or whatever, and the doctor, he sent him a video, and the doctor now sends out a video to all his customers, basically explaining, hey, you came in to see me about, you separated your shoulder, this is what happened, kind of a follow-up call, but it's a follow-up video. It's great.
As you know, I'm a huge fan of that stuff.
Right. Well, you've done it.
Well, how's this? Who's heard of Mike Koenig's in here? Anybody? Pete, you know who Mike Koenig is, right?
Of course, yeah.
Traffic geyser.
It's a traffic geyser. He's he's a big player, right? So yesterday morning, I got an email from JJ saying, I want you to send a wow to Mike Koenig's, which is a wow just means a lot of great steak and seafood, and so she spends a lot of money on these wows already, okay? And I give her a great discount, but she spends a lot of money on these wows.
And now you have Mike Koenig's address.
And not only that in his email, but what do I do? Is I send people a video. When I do a wow, I give a message from the person giving the gift, and I tell them how, if I know them or I know of them, I say something about, how much I respect them. And Mike Koenig's, there's a lot to be respectful of, and his wife that have just like my child. The foundation is fantastic too, but JJ wanted to, give him this gift, and it was, she explained to me what he did and how she really appreciated what he did at this mastermind group that she has. Well, now I'm sending a video to Mike Koenig's, and communicating with this guy. Am I sending him fish and steak? Yeah, but now I've got this video that is directly to him, and how powerful is that to be able to do? And those are something that's very powerful.
Did you see the video of his new studio?
Wow. No, yeah.
He's in one of the high rises downtown in San Diego now. Built the whole studio.
But the power of video and the power of being able to do this in a scalable fashion, there's nothing stronger, than that, and more scalable. So I just want to do that. Dale, let's tonight. Have you been thinking about what we're talking about by way of how you're going to be engaging with your prospects?
Yeah, I certainly have. I've taken a few pretty good takeaways. I think ideation is probably the first one I'll definitely remember, just in terms of how we can better connect, and also in terms of putting yourself in the position of your customers. Obviously, the whole idea is we're trying to, with this new business, we're really targeting people who want to eat healthy, fresh foods, but don't exactly have a lot of time to do that. Maybe because they have, kids, or maybe under the age of 5 or 10, or maybe they're working so hard as well. So I've been in that position myself where like I said, I've got a 2-year-old daughter and a wife, and we both kind of work, so it's kind of hard to, go to the supermarket and get everything done and actually eat fresh food as well. So I think being able to just resonate closely with, what my ultimate customers are actually feeling as well, puts you in a pretty powerful position. But one thing I think got from what you were saying, Jeff, was the whole thing about your menu engineering. I've never heard that term before, but that's actually what we're doing right now. Because one of the things we're doing on this website is we're trying to actually have all the meals at the same price, which sounds a little bit interesting. But so obviously now we're going through and trying to figure out what the base cost is for all these recipes that we've got right now, so we can set a fixed price that's not too high, obviously, because we don't want to scare people away. But at the same time, we need to just see which recipes are going to be more profitable and how do we position those on the website without being too in your face as well. So a lot of things I think that we're currently working through are relating to that, where we're saying, okay, we want to make it as simple as possible from a user experience perspective, so people don't have to go on a slow website. They don't have to think too much. We're also looking at, I know you mentioned using Shopify. This is one of the actual products we considered as well. Initially, we looked at that as something we might do later on. So we went with something else, which is a little bit cheaper at this stage, called WooCommerce, which we're finding to be a little bit restrictive. So I think we're probably going to move on to Shopify sooner than I actually planned. But that's fine. Because one of the things we are looking to do is have customers able to subscribe to the service, so that they might just say on a weekly basis, I want you to send me 5 meals for 4 people, and we just lock it in every week, and we just ship that to them as well. So doing that with WooCommerce has been a little bit tricky for us. We had a few other techos sort of running around in circles trying to figure that out. So yeah, just one of the things about making sure the user experience is fine, looking at the packaging as well. Again, people are going to receive temperature-controlled boxes, so to speak, in their home. So we're talking to suppliers who can actually put together a box that is easy for us to put together, so we can sort of flat pack it, so it's easy to store, but also we can put it together pretty quickly, and when it actually ends up with the customer, it's something that actually looks presentable. Similar to, like, I think one of the members was saying, similar to how Apple package their products, where when you actually get a product, it's almost like you're receiving a present from Apple. So just making it, something that people actually look forward to as well. And again, resonating with the whole video thing. As I said, on Wednesday we're off to Sydney to shoot a couple of videos, which will be as a way of introduction from the chef to the consumers as well. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good information, I think, as well. Sorry? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dale. I'd like to make one more recommendation. Here in Southern California, there's a company called Susan's Healthy Gourmet.
I was just going to say that.
That Susan's Healthy Gourmet does prepackaged meals that you can buy in advance, whether it's a certain amount of calories, certain types of meals, but they're delivered directly to your door. And one thing I'd love to look at is the competition and what they're doing, but that's a great website for you to get a lot of information from, because I looked at it at one point to buy the product and how they ship it, because those are all questions I had. But if you look at that, they have a really good system, and it's grown to such a big company that they advertise on a real big talk radio station here. Very expensive to be on, and I know that that they have a subscription type based service. You can do weekly, whatever, but it's growing quite big. But that's a great website to look at.
They're also a customer of International Pacific Seafood.
All right. Well, then they have good
seafood. Excellent. Thanks. No, I appreciate that. No, that's really helpful.
Let me ask you, aside from that, you said you're doing a soft launch in August?
Yes.
Okay. And in that soft launch, after the first week of your soft launch, you look back, what is it that you did to acquire your first customer? why is that customer going and buying anything from you? What did they do? What did you have to do to get them to buy or raise their hand and do business with you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So what we're planning to do for the soft launch, that's a very good point. Currently, like I said, we've got a landing page where people can register their interest on the service. So we've got a couple of hundred people sort of subscribe to that or sign up to that. So initially, we're looking to have a chat to pretty much send an email to those people to let them know that the service is actually available. And we've also got, as I said, because this has been done by, or technically it's been promoted by a fairly well-known chef here in Australia. We thought, well, let's just get through all the kinks we're going to find before we actually go full out. So we're going to sort of limit the scope to say, let's just talk to these people who've actually signed up already, who are interested in the service. They've already given us an indication how often they use the service, just as a sort of quick survey that we sent out to them as well. But I think, yeah, looking back, it will be good to actually figure out what that, I guess, tipping point might be that actually makes someone go, oh, okay, I've heard about this service, now it's now available. What is it that's actually going to make me make that purchase? So maybe we'll find a way to ask that question. Obviously, we'll know who the first customer is, so maybe it's a case of trying to make sure we actually talk to them to get that information from them, and then we can replicate that moving forward.
How did they get to the landing page now?
Basically, we did very, very limited Facebook ads. We didn't really want to go too crazy on that one, but we did a few Facebook ads and just, did some stuff on social media. So Facebook ads were probably the main thing we did. We did a few Google ads as well and some word of mouth. We also did a bit of guerrilla marketing in the city here in Melbourne. We had 2 guys and 2 girls models who were dressed up as chefs with aprons and hats with the logo of the company on the aprons and the hats, and just walking around talking to people, asking them what they think about the service. And we had a few promotional postcards that we handed out as well. So we did a little bit of marketing in that sense, but without going too full on.
Great. Before these guys leave, I just want to ask Brian, what was your big takeaway tonight?
How am I going to quantify all that?
Well, just I mean, you're driving home and you're like, wow, you know what? Tomorrow, like, I'm going to do that right when I get up.
Well, I like the idea of having a finished list instead of a to-do list, and that was a good thing. I'm also going to, I didn't get to ask the question, but I really need to get pieces done, marketing pieces. I'm not good at that, and I know I'm not. So finding someone who can do that for me at a reasonable price for some of the things that I'm doing.
I got a guy.
Okay. I signed up for the Facebook group, so when you that we can talk.
Okay. When did you sign up?
Just a little while ago.
Okay. Cool.
He's a technology guy.
Yeah. What was your big takeaway tonight there?
I like the finish list.
Finish list.
I like the finish list.
Good.
That's awesome.
Have you guys seen that Dan Sullivan app, that win streak? You looked at that?
No, I heard about it. Babs was saying something about it, and I've actually seen it.
It's kind of a cool little app if you're into the finish thing, because it's all on the positive, right? It's about creating habits and that sort of thing. But it's got what was your accomplishment? I left my phone in the car. I whipped it out here, but and what are you going to do tomorrow, basically?
I do that already. I have a to-do list that rotates in Word that my assistant built for me like 10 years ago. I still use it to this day.
I do actually do that same process with Joseph every day.
Yeah.
Joseph's so cool that, like, if we think there's 5 things that need to get done, he literally, like, for the website, he literally does a short, like, 2-minute video on this is what I need you to do today, and shows me how to do it, and then says, okay, cool. Don't look at the next one until you're done with this one.
Wow.
And we literally, so I've got 5 things, 5 short videos. It's really, really cool. And no matter where I am, I can look at it and go,
cool. Awesome. All right, sir.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. See y'all.
Nice to meet you.
So,
I'll call you. Okay.
Elisa, what was your big takeaway tonight?
I have several takeaways. The first big one is that I need to create a quantifiable list of benefits for for my clients. And the second takeaway is I need to start creating some videos, it sounds like. So videos of questions people should ask versus frequently asked questions. And then the last thing is I'm going to have a goal. Well, I have a goal of doing 10 interviews in 10 weeks with people who have developed products. So,
That's cool.
yeah, so those are my takeaways.
Okay, I would add one more for you.
Okay.
So let's say I introduce you to JJ Virgin, and you are now going to have a conversation with her. What would be the list of questions that you would ask her in your first meeting?
Okay, so you said she develops skin creams? Is that what she does?
Hold on for 1 second. Sonny, thank you for being here. She's got to go.
Okay.
But the finish list, and hopefully your big takeaway, too, is working with Stephen Dale.
Yes, I'm excited to do that. Will you also please post where we can watch these videos again? Because I would love to listen again on, about the story of the boulder and the coins underneath and the perseverance. Because I've heard that story before, but it's always nice to hear it again. So.
And no problem. You go to ThursdayNightBoardroom.com or Thursday Night Boardroom on YouTube.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. Can't wait to see you guys again. Thank you.
Sorry, Lisa. I just wanted she needed to go, and so.
Okay.
So we're back to what are the questions you would ask her in your first meeting to be able to create a good plan for developing her products.
Well, first I would ask her what is her main objective. So, what type of product is she trying to develop? What concerns she's having right now? As far as, I guess, what are the obstacles that she's facing right now? So that I could figure out how to tailor the discussion. I would ask her if she knows who her target consumer is and what the benefits are that she's trying to deliver, and where she is in the development process so that I could kind of jump in and help her.
Okay, and then she's going to answer those questions in about 5 seconds.
Okay.
Because that's how fast she moves.
Okay.
And then you're going to say, what are you going to do? What can you do for me?
And I would say, well, I bring 16 years of development experience. Specifically, I guess the last decade has been spent developing skincare products in particular. I have an understanding of skin physiology, active ingredients, ways to measure the skin so that you know that your product is performing, and also just being able to connect with the consumer and knowing the industry and the competitive landscape. So I can help her to make connections so that she can develop products that perform better, and I guess that she can also develop products that are differentiated from the competitive set.
That's okay. Those are all good things. But remember what the fourth question is in those 4 questions that we asked?
Unfortunately.
What makes you the best in the world in the eyes of your customer?
Yeah.
Okay? And the answer is I am you. So before I introduce you together, I want you to become her. So you're going to go to jjvirgin.com and look at the stuff that she does.
Okay.
Okay? And see what she's all about. Because she's all about natural, organic, being really cognizant. I'm not even sure how to use the terminology as far as the certain chemicals and what she's not going to want in her products. I would go a long way to being able to speak in that language as if you are her.
Okay.
And then I think that that's a really strong attribute to be able to speak as that person without being too general, clinical, and being able to really represent their vision and their mission and values in the first meeting. And I think because you have so much experience and talent in what you do and how you can provide that, I think it's really important for these people to know that you're a real person and that you
Okay.
believe in them, as much as they believe in themselves and maybe even more.
Okay.
Because you're able to see this thing, right? You know
Right.
how it's developed.
Right.
You just that's the real connection that you can do in something like that. This will be a hell of a proving ground, and I promise you, not it's not uncommon to get a little nervous for something like this too.
Funny you should mention that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you got those takeaways, and I appreciate you being here with us. But
Thanks.
so, Deo, any more on your takeaways tonight? I mean, anything? What's the one thing you're going to do tomorrow?
The one thing I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to focus on making sure that when we're putting together the recipes for the consumers, we are really aware of the positioning of the recipes on the website. So people actually, we sort of, without being too pushy, we actually, put them in the right position to actually pick what's best for them. So there's a lot of, I guess, science around how people make decisions, and a lot of apps that you can sort of use to monitor, how people drop off on the website. I think there's one called ClickTail, something like that, which actually records what people do on the website. So just maybe using something like that to actually give us some real live metrics of what people are actually doing on the site, so we can sort of be a bit smarter with the positioning of the different meals on the website.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here too, Dan.
Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks. Nice to meet you guys.
Dan?
My takeaway is the 9-word email. I've already looked it up. That's awesome. That is fantastic. Okay, so that's very cool. I always get stuff out of this. One thing, Alyssa, I wanted to recommend for your videos, though, is if you have an iPhone, the Splice app, it's free. It's a free editing app. You can make videos and edit it. It's called Splice. It's free, and the cool thing is you can fade in, fade out, but you can make your own selfie videos and like Stephen recommended, answering questions, but it would give you an idea. Set your iPhone across the room and get an idea of how to answer questions. I've done it a dozen times. It's fantastic.
Okay, I'll try that. Thank you.
Mike?
If you look into the eyes of your employees and you see them deteriorating, you failed as a leader. I've got some things to do tomorrow because that just really resonated.
It's really important in this realization and the self-actualization that you don't run around your office telling people that you failed as a leader. Let your actions kind of elevate you as a leader again, in a lot of things. It's not their right as employees to know how you felt about your leadership. You don't need to share that with them, but you definitely need to take a different tact and move forward in a different way. And so I mean, even tonight, because I decided today was going to be the day that I was going to take this thing back on, as my director of purchasing was leaving the building. He goes, "What else did we want to accomplish today that I haven't accomplished?" I said, "Well, that's a great question." Before it would just be like, "I'm out of here," but before he just turned around. I said, "How do we go? How do we do on the BJ's pricing deal?" And he goes, "Oh," and I go, "What are we going to do?" And he goes, "We're going to extend the contract out." Okay, I don't want this. Sorry about that. We're going to extend the contract out till September. Okay. When are we going to do that? Oh, I wanted to do it today. How long would it take you to extend that contract out and send the new contract over to the guy at BJ's? He goes, like 5 minutes. I look at my watch and he goes, "I'll do it right now." And it wasn't me like going, "Oh, well, let me look about it," like being all weird about it. I was just like, "You got 5 minutes?" And so he left here feeling like, that last thing what did he do?
Got it
He
done.
finished something, right? It wasn't laying on his head. He didn't leave here going, I know I need to do that. He finished something. And I helped him, right, with that. To help him
to
through
that
that
positive
process.
outcome, yeah.
You know, left to our own devices, right? When we're in our own head, where are we? Behind enemy lines. So there's got to be somebody that's going to pull us. We have to be pulled to our better potential, right? That's what a mastermind's about. You know, we're always going to keep trying to achieve our potential. It's the people that are on the other side that are pulling you through what you believe is your potential, right? And then all of a sudden, once you get to that, you're able to identify the fact that your potential line is actually even farther up the road a little bit, you know, and so that's what this is about. So that
That's a
leadership
very good
thing's a
point.
big deal.
Just
But
take some-
make your actions be
Take the action.
the thing, not the words, not the, hey, I apologize, I've been absent for you. There's a lot of people that are just going to go, whatever, stick it. You know, they're not going to say it to you directly, but on their way home, they're like, you know, whatever. So just that was just one thing part of that.
Well, you covered it before, and you kind of covered it now with the whole mirror thing, right? I mean, there's that feel overwhelmed with multiple things, and the reality is I've only got myself to blame. Not that
And you've only got one thing at a time. You really, at that, like you were talking about Zimon, at that zero moment of truth, you might have 4 things going on. There's only one thing that's going to get finished right then. You know, and so you of all people have the ability to exhibit and demonstrate your presence and your value to your organization better than anybody within your organization. You know, and I think that, you know me, I'm your biggest fan, or one of your biggest fans, I guess, if you count Cat. But
I don't know about that.
but it's one of those things that you know, I think that there's so many things that deserve to be, you know, we're kind of in the same boat. We're fantastic when we're talking to customers and they get so much value out of it. But we allow ourselves to be so busy that we forget to scale our highest value. And we're just, we're letting ourselves deteriorate because of it.
Yeah, the finish thing was the second thing. There's just so many things that I've got, just so many balls up in the air. We talked about it at breakfast. Just gotta finish. That's why when I got that win streak app, when I heard about that, I'm like, oh, I need to create a win streak. So
right, and that's it. And you know, having an accountability partner, that's a good accountability situation. But there's very little consequence on not having a win streak. I think that's true. So, you know, being able to know that tomorrow I better have this one particular thing done, or I'm be in some trouble. So, what about you, there, Mr. Vignier?
I would just say, finish.
Finish.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up is because I work for a big company. I had a little, as I like to say, come to Jesus with lost legs. The reason for that is the more stuff they pile on us to do that is non-productive affects my ability to meet with guys like you.
Right.
And I just said to her, I should have got pissed off. Use my numbers a long time ago. Because they have us doing all these tasks that look good on a spreadsheet to an executive in Texas, but does everything but puts us in front of the customer.
Yep.
Gotta run the leads.
Yep.
Gotta get on the leads.
That's it.
FaceTime.
That's it. And I mean, I remember Brian Prieto here always used to talk about, I'm going to do 10 different websites, and they're all going to have based on the ailments, and you know, I'm going to SEO each one, and da-da-da, and it's like, what's the point? Oh, to get more clients, you know, and then more patients, and I'm like, great. You know, what's your capacity today? Well, you know, I see about 40 clients a day, or patients a day. What can you truly handle? I can handle about 45 to 50. It's like, go turn around to that filing cabinet and start dialing for dollars. Get your people in the deal to do that. You don't need to do all the big, grandiose things. Do something first. I mean, Joseph, for me, it's like, you know, I'm the king of grandiose plans, but not when I'm with Joseph, man. You know, I could sit there and start explaining it, and you can almost, you know what, like you can hear somebody not listening. You know, you can feel it. And you're just like, and I just know that he's just letting me go until there's a gap in the sound that's coming out of the phone, and then he's just going to go, okay, so what's the first thing we're going to do? You know, and so that's really helped me a lot. So anyway, I'm glad that the finish list is a good thing, and I'm glad we've got some good takeaways, and I certainly would love for anybody to share, you know, not a book report, but the field report. This is what I did. This was the result I had, or this is the progress I've made because I finished something that was inspired from the boardroom the other night. And that'll continue to prompt and promote, you know, what goes on in here.
Well, that's cool. I think having this in 2 weeks is very good because it's enough time, but it's a quick amount of time to.
Well, and
to
then
get
it'll be every
done.
month. It'll just be once a month.
That's
So, I mean, we'll do something. I'll figure out
How many people can we invite online? Is it?
I think it's like 10. It's 10 or 12.
Oh, that's really cool. Because there's a few people on the list I really want to reach out to and make sure that they're here. You know.
Yep. Okay. Cool. All right, guys. Well, listen. Thank you very much for being here. I know that Lisa, it's a little late for you, and happy Friday, Dale.
So
Yeah.
Friday,
Thanks for that.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
fun.
2:30 in the afternoon.
There you go. Well, have a great rest of your day, and good night, Elisa.
Good night. See you tomorrow
See you
or
guys.
later. Bye.
I know. This has been a Thursday night boardroom production.
That